The Osmo Pocket 3 is advertised as a vlogging camera, and it's such a great camera that you can use it for many other things. And the one thing that I use this camera for mainly is for product reviews because you're able to get great B-roll footage. And if you know how to make good B-roll, that means you know how to make a good story, which means you know how to make a good video. So in this video, I'm gonna show you guys how I use the Osmo Pocket 3 to make good B-roll. So let's go over the settings that I use for the B-roll. So let's start off with resolution. I shoot at 4K 60 frames per second. You can shoot at 1080p, no problem. But for the frames per second, I shoot at 60 and you should as well because you need some wiggle room in case you need to slow down the video just a little bit. You have that flexibility to do that. You're not able to do that with 30 frames per second. So once you do it at 60 frames per second, you're gonna go ahead and go to exposure, manual. I set the shutter count to 1/20. So if you're shooting at 60 frames per second, your shutter count should be 1/120. If you're shooting at 30 frames per second, it needs to be at shutter count 60. So make sure to always double it. And then for ISO, it just depends on your lighting situation. I am allowed to go up to 400 because I don't have the best lighting situation. But if you have great lighting, there's no problem for you going down to all the way up down to 100. The lower the better, honestly. So that's my current setup for when I do B-roll in my studio. When it comes to the B-roll, I like to keep things simple. The simpler it is, the easier it is for me to do it, which means it's more consistent. I'm always on my grind. So I use one feature in this Osmo Pocket 3, which is the dynamic framing. I use that for all my B-roll because what it does is it creates a little box, which then you can go ahead and select a box in the screen, and whatever box you select in that area, it'll be locked in by the gimbal to follow it to go left and right. So in this case, you put your product preferably in that square, and then what you do is from there, you just move it. You move the Osmo Pocket 3 left, right, up, and down, and the gimbal will follow it, which creates that cinematic look when you're presenting a product because it's, you're showing movement while you're going left, right, or whatever, and it gives you that professional look to it. The B-roll from the beginning of this video was from this mic, just showing you guys the type of B-roll that I was getting. So let's go ahead and break that B-roll scene from the beginning, and I'll show you guys how I did step by step so you guys can also get that same type of B-roll. Also, a quick note, the Osmo Pocket 3 is a 3-axis gimbal. It's not a 4-axis gimbal. So I didn't know about gimbals. I thought it was going to be stable no matter what I did with the Osmo Pocket 3, but that is incorrect. So let me show you guys. So if you were to move like this, recording, you're moving it up and down, it's going to register that, and it's going to be shaky when you go up and down. And you can use stabilization and post-production software, but it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be a little bit warped. Like, it's not going to look natural. So you're going to have to use some workarounds. So there is workarounds. Like, for example, if you are going to use it for B-roll, put it on the table and then slide it across the table. You can use something like this just to make it smooth. Let me show you guys. Like I said, grab a piece of paper or a piece of plastic. Whatever stops the Osmo Pocket 3 from having that friction on a table, you should be good from there. And just go left and right, up and down, and go about your business. Of course, you don't need that. You can just use it hold it in your arm and just do the movements, maybe a little bit of wiggle, but as long as you're focused, it should be steady. So whatever works for you, it's the best solution. So in this example here, we're using the microphone. So dynamic framing, press OK, and then I will select one of the squares that my product is in the middle of. That way it's focused on that. So once we have that ready, we're good to go from there. So this is behind the scenes. It's pretty simple. Once active track is enabled with dynamic framing, I just simply go left to right and right to left, and a gimbal will move automatically for me. So it gives me that steady cinematic shot. And I'll show you guys the results right now. This is the final product. As you can see, it looks professional. It looks clean. It looks simple. I didn't even have to do much. You guys saw me. I just moved it left to right, right to left. Nothing crazy. And the gimbal did all the work for me and made it really steady. Same deal here, guys. Making it go back, making it go forward. Here's the results. It's not perfect, but this is great. This is great for me. I think this is very acceptable. Of course, this for demonstration purposes. I didn't clean up. The framing is wrong, but just to show you guys. Enough of the microphone. Let me show you guys other products that I'm doing this with. Like I said, active track on. I'm moving the Osmo left, right, up, down, up. There's many ways of doing B-roll. I'm just using this specific way because it works for me. and that's what matters. It's easy, it's simple, so I'm just showing you guys what I use. Of course, I may be doing this a bit wrong. Point it out in the comments, or if you have other ways you like doing it with your Osmo, also put it in the comments. But this is what I use, and it's working for me, and I hope this also works for you guys as well. For watching, guys. Just want to showcase this camera and how flexible it is. I'm using this camera for everything. I'm using this camera when I go on vacation. I'm using it for lifestyle. Well, that probably is the same thing. I'm using it for YouTube, for product reviews. Just goes to show that if you are creative, then your gear is creative as well. Take advantage, know your gear, know the features, because honestly, this is just a tool. The real creativeness, the real storytelling is in here, and that's what produces good videos. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.